you need to first look at validating yourself. You need to look at where is that you're already doing good, where is that you're already asking good questions. If we have to figure out what we do, that means we have to understand the problem very well. That means have the conversation with them to understand the entire problem and what their vision is. This will only pressurize you, because every question I ask you right now will be like, oh shit, I should ask a question like this. Oh my god, I'm not asking a question like this. You ask those questions, have the conversation, you come up with a strategy how you will solve the problem, and go back and have a conversation again. So what's happening is you have one problem and one solution in your mind because only that much you have thought of, and therefore you're not able to ask more questions. See, if your product manager and the business also thinks that, oh, you know what, this seems to be a very good idea, let's invest a little bit of time on finding out what's happening with people, and they will realize if you ask these questions. Because a lot of us think that a company is supposed to come and tell us to do research. They won't, because it's a waste of time for them. They need results. But you have these conversations, you showcase your journey, you showcase your vision, you always talk their language.
Yeah, I don't know, is this a right time to ask this question? But since I have been working like for 2 years now
Okay?
in the industry, and I want to ask that how to ask better questions. Like I know
Okay.
that initially you started with like start better question, ask your better questions and storytell and all those things. So I just want to ask that I am badly stuck. I feel like that I am badly stuck professionally at that level when asking better questions. So can you just tell me like how do I improve on daily basis? I get it that I have to observe my surroundings and I have to check on other competitors and everything, but when it comes to solving real problems, I get it to some extent, but after that I'll be like, what's wrong?
Okay.
And then like when I talk to data guys and my PMs, and they are like very, then I got to know, okay, like what questions I have to ask. Like for example, I'll give an example for just
Okay.
a brief. So my PM just told me this problem, like a very like not a brief problem, but yeah, he was like we the current problem which goal we have to solve is like we have to retain the retention of the users. That's like bigger problem. Now I have to bifurcate it and everything. Now how do I start to think from there?
Okay.
It's not only about retention or something like that. How do I, you get it what I'm trying to say? Like
Not
how do
totally,
I
but go ahead. You all do a
okay.
good question, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask like how do I think, how do I start? I get it that it's not only about retention, it's about my thinking process as like a senior US designer, or while I'm collaborating to data guys or PM or other stakeholders. It's like
Okay.
that. So I want to improve that area of me, like majorly stuck on that question, on that part right now.
No, 1 second. So I think you covered a lot of ground in your question. Starting off with literally asking how to ask good questions. I wanted to ask to whom. That was my first question to you. And then you reveal that looks like you want to ask good questions to your stakeholders at work.
Yeah, and to
Yeah.
even myself while solving
How
problems,
do
like
we, yeah,
yeah,
get to a
like my
place where I'm thinking in that manner, right?
So it's like while solving problem, I need to be like very precise and very elaborative in my questions also while solving it, because at the end of the day it is me who is solving the problem.
Correct.
Like why we have to solve the retention, where we are getting that our retention is bad, like what type of questions I have to frame for myself to develop the broader horizon of solving the problem basically.
I'll tell you. Yeah. First, let's split it into two parts. It's good that you have the enthusiasm to learn how to ask questions. That's a good part. But before that, I'll deal with the other part, which I can clearly see in you. That is the pressure you're putting on yourself to think about all the aspects, to be a very good designer, to ask the right questions. You have this pressure because I can also probably see. I mean, it's good. I mean, all of us have that. We want to perform well, but as long as you do it the pressure way, that oh my god, what to do? It's so what really happens is even though we see the answers ourselves literally next to us on a daily basis, we cannot accept it as an answer because we are literally pressurizing ourselves to perform at this level or whatever you're having in your mind, right? So we need to first address that. You need to understand that firstly, if you are able to even think like this, you're already doing good. That's one very important thing which you have to understand. So Sambhavi, even thinking like this, understanding the need for going and asking questions, understanding that as a business, I mean, if I'm talking to a product manager, you give an example that if I'm talking about retention, I would want to know more. I want to solve a good problem. Even thinking like this, that means you are in a good position. You are doing well. It's an important thing to understand, first of all, right? Because these conversations, for a lot of places, these conversations don't even happen. People are so clueless about what to do in their jobs, forget about worrying about how to have a good conversation with the product manager. They're totally clueless. Product managers have to literally tell them, handhold them in terms of what they're expecting, and mostly designers end up doing screen work. So you're in a much better situation, right? The reason I'm telling this is you need to first look at validating yourself. You need to look at where is that you're already doing good, where is that you're already asking good questions, and you need to validate yourself for that. Say, hey, you know what, last time when this situation came, I asked this question and I'm good. It's good that my brain is thinking like this. I'm a valuable person. I'm able to create value. I'm able to have these conversations, right? I want to improve. I want to become more valuable, but I'm already asking these kind of questions. You have to tell yourself this. This validation is very, very important, because if you don't validate yourself, all you'll see is pressure. You're looking at the perfect questions, the perfect conversations, right? This is the first aspect which I wanted to address, which you have to really consciously do. You need to really appreciate yourself for the things which you are already doing. Okay, awesome. Then I'll come to the second part. How do I become more enthusiastic? How do I have these conversations? So, in general, what we do, even in UX process, to go and understand concepts in a much deeper manner, is to go and ask why. So, there's a technique called as five whys. Okay, it's just a common sense technique, right? You ask a why, you get an answer. You ask one more why, one more why. You keep going on. Okay, around five times. Or the actual heart of it is to keep going on why until you no more have any more answer for it. Or in other words, understanding the root cause, right? There are multiple textbook things to this, right? What you need to do is, at every situation, do this exercise. You are curious, that's why that why is coming, or why or what to do, or the curiosity part is happening. Retention, okay? Why should we impact retention? Go and ask this question until you get an answer. Hey, you know what's happening is we are spending enough money in acquisition. A lot of users we are bringing them, but retention is a big problem, because of which there's a lot of leakage, and all the money which is we have spent in acquisition doesn't feel like, it's the investment is, it's not worthy. So we need to retain people. So what can we do in such a way that the product can retain people? Probably this is a very generic answer. And then you're like, okay, awesome, I understand. Why do you want to solve this, right? Or what problems do you see? What challenges do you see today, because of which you want to solve this thing right now, right? One more question. Just have this, that why. Okay, you want to do this, I understand. Because most of the times our conversations generally are at surface level, because we have a lot of assumptions about what we assume that they know the context, and they assume that we know the context, right? And you don't know, right? You don't really know if the context is matching, if they are thinking or not, like that. I mean, mostly we are talking at a surface level. But when we force ourselves to ask why, I'm not happy with this. Happy is, I mean, is a wrong way to put it. You are happy doing this. There's no emotion involved in this. Okay, got an answer. Great. Let me ask one more why. When I say why, it's not literally why. It can be what, where, and all that questions. It is being about being curious at one more level. That's what I'm trying to say. Hmm.
Adding to that, to your answer,
Huh.
so there was this thing that my senior stakeholder was telling me that we want to, I'm just giving it example so that you can just
Huh.
correct me, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
So my senior stakeholder was telling me that we have to retain, we have to convert our readers to writers, because that's how the Korean market is going on. So
Huh.
we don't reinvent we
What's the
don't have to.
product? What's the product?
It's a novels app.
No lab. Okay.
Novels app.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Got it.
reading app. So
Huh.
we create the library also on our
Uh-huh.
own platform. We have
Okay.
writers also and readers also.
Okay.
On One is like Android platform for reading, and second is web platform basically for writing.
Hmm.
So this is how it goes. So my stakeholder was telling me that we have to convert our consumers to producers because
Got it.
80% of the Korean market goes like that. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like totally blank, and I was like, "Ki, acha, theek hai," that he's saying that we have to do it. So I was like, okay, that's how the market is going on. So we have to do it. So I was like, after the call, I realized that I didn't ask any why question. Like, why right now? Is this the like proper time for us to do that? Like, I get,
Correct.
totally zero.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
when it comes to conversation with PM, other like they are like super like this. Ki, okay,
They are like
why,
that. I
why?
mean, obviously, as a product manager, you're expected to make sure you deliver as quickly as possible, because you would even small amount of time you invest in a business is going to increase the risk of doing business, right? As a product manager, you have that. You need to always reduce the risk, right? But a very good thing is reducing risk comes with trusting people, right? You need to trust the right kind of people to go and reduce the risk. If trust has to develop, you need to have good conversations with those people, making them understand that you can ask questions and you want to know more. Your enthusiasm in knowing more so that you can go and solve a problem can build the trust that I can discuss things in a much better manner with these people. Once you build that trust, they will have better conversations with you. Curiosity is encouraged. Now, obviously, in a conversation, there might be chances where they'll say, like, hey, why does Korean market behave like that? Right? Or what do you think? And how is this relevant to us? What do you think is our target market? Right? Or target users? Um, how big is this? What is the business impact coming from them? All these are natural questions which you could have anyway asked, right? Generally, what happens is product managers are expected to write all this in their product documentation. Okay, different companies have different name for this. Um, in Amazon, they follow something called as PR-FAQ. It's a very popular, method. It's there all over the internet as well. So PR-FAQ is like every product manager, every person writes a document as if they're doing a press release. PR is press release. Okay, a press release FAQ. FAQ is frequently asked questions. So what they do is they write down the vision, they write down about the target users, they write down about how the future use case is going to be, right? They take a future date, like 1 year down the line or whenever they're planning to go to the release, and they write it as if they are on that date, as if the feature is now releasing. They write down the press release documentation, and then they attach it with a lot of FAQs. All these FAQs and this entire document itself, especially the FAQs, continuously keep evolving, because as the person keeps meeting a lot of other stakeholders, the designers, developers, senior stakeholders, everyone, what they do is keep inputting questions. Why? What do you think will happen here? Questions, frequently asked questions, are just added to the document, or existing questions are improved, right? So a product manager does this. A product manager anyway has to ask questions, would encourage you, would want anyone to trigger them thinking more about the product. So the point is, a lot of times we try to go and ask questions about how do you want me to do this task. That is where the conversation dies down, because everyone cannot be a mentor. It's very difficult to find other people to guide us and mentor us to what we need to do. So going in that direction is what will fail. Hey, I understand. Can you tell me what should I do? No, we need to become the people where we figure out what we do. If we have to figure out what we do, that means we have to understand the problem very well. That means have the conversation with them to understand the entire problem and what their vision is, right? Your questions are not about, okay, so do I have to make these screens? Are we going and attacking this particular flow only? Or should we do this? Instead of your focus on this, you figure out all this, go and find out the vision from them. Okay, what do you think are the current areas where there are high drop offs? You show me this data, because I don't have this data. Can you show me? Is a very good question to a product manager. Okay, we are looking for a newer audience who are like creators. Can you please show me the number of people on the platform today, right, who are, or what is the percentage of number of people in the platform who are these creators? Or can you show me examples of those customers who joined as consumers and became creators? Give me this data, give me the data. Show me what patterns happen, because all this data is captured. If not, they will capture enough. But you asking this question is itself, oh nice, this person is thinking in the right direction.
which I'm not currently.
That's what I'm saying. This is just curiosity. I'm saying, Shami, what I'm trying to say is you are just curious to think in this manner, because there is no right or wrong answer over here. Again,
Hmm.
you need to first act on the first point. That's why I started with you working on your pressure. You're not telling yourself where you're already doing good at. If you don't work on that, this will only pressurize you, because every question I ask you right now will be like, oh shit, I should ask a question like this. Oh my god, I'm not asking a question like this.
Yeah, in my
You
head I was like that.
need to take it as, oh
Why
wow,
did?
Anudeep is asking these kind of questions. Nice. I can also ask. I understand the root of it is curiosity. Yeah, that day I've asked one question in this manner. Probably now I can expand it to 10 other questions. This is the way you need to take it. If you have to take it this manner, you have to address the first one. That is not feeling pressure for every question that you did not ask. Yeah, because that is very artificial. It is not true, right? There is no standard for asking questions. There is no right. It is wrong. So basically, first validate yourself. That is very very important. But again, coming back to the point, onto the second point, you need to make sure that you have these conversations, just triggering from your curiosity to understand the product more and to understand the problem more, rather than understanding what exactly you are doing. What you do here is you ask those questions, have the conversation, you come up with a strategy how you will solve the problem, and go back and have a conversation again. This is the way I'm thinking of solving this particular problem. As I'm trying to solve this problem, I'll tell you one. So, this is one more thing where you can note down, right? So, when you're solving the problem, obviously you'll come up with a lot of questions. Yes or no? Let's say you have only this much of clarity. Retention should be improved. Consumer should become a creator. Okay, tell me one idea which you might have discussed with your product manager to do this.
Okay, so I propose that after certain active users, so we
Huh.
have this criteria that this user will be a active user when they'll read for 1 hour content.
Uh-huh.
So after that, we can pitch him a pop up or something like that. Hey, you can write also, and something like that with
Okay.
a good copy and that, or with a right tab, so
Got
that
it?
he can write on the writer's tab.
Yes. Basically, what you're doing is you're reinforcing users to certain kinds of behaviors. You're cross-selling another feature of a product, and you are
Hanji.
you're using reinforcement messages to go, and people will go and get cross-sold to these new features. That's what you're trying to do overall, right? So let's say this is the problem. This is the idea you have, right?
That's it.
Yeah, that's
So
fine. That's fine. This is literally how we do our EXPs here, right? This is, in fact, this is literally how we do our PDC. The product design challenge is an exploratory design problem statement. This is exactly what, like, 1 month after we'll have a PDC, right? This is exactly the reason I said cross sell. The reason I said reinforcements is because these are the exact problem statements we'll be working on in a PDC. We worked on also in the last PDC, right? Let's say you're working on it. Now, obviously, your feature has a certain flow which you have in your mind, correct? Jot down that particular flow. And the moment you jot down that particular flow, you call it a journey. Okay, first call it a journey, because you know that your user is going to go through the journey, right? Now, at every part of the journey, right? Let's say they are here reading an article, right? Think about all the use cases which can happen at every part of the journey. Reading, what's happening, what are all the interactions I'm doing, right? What are all the questions I might get as a user? How to go to the next article? How do I skip this article? How do I highlight something or whatever, right? Oh, this, and you can also think like, as a writer, I am a writer, I want to write, and I'm reading another article. Oh wow, this line is very good. The way they have built the story is very good. I have an idea here to go and write. All the kinds of thoughts, feelings, all the problems that I might be facing, all these things write down at every stage of the journey. Understand, I'm saying journey,
yes.
right? There is a flow. Okay, a flow is like a road, right? And on top of it, let's say you're walking. What you're experiencing becomes the journey
Agree.
as a user, right? And if I'm taking that particular path as I'm walking, right, I opened the gate, I came there, I took a left turn, right turn, whatever. So through that flow, through that road, let's say I'm going from my house to a bakery, through that particular road, if I'm traveling, as a user, what I'm experiencing at every point of time, right, is my journey.
Mm.
So take this journey, and at every point of time, write down everything what you feel you can put about the user,
Sure.
right? Be it their feelings, be it some problems,
Mm.
right? Be it any opportunities which you see, right?
Mm.
Any of these things. You don't have to restrict yourself, right? I'm not giving any formula here also,
Mhm.
right? Write that down, and for each and every one of these things, you will get a lot of questions. It's very natural that you'll get questions because you foresee a problem. Let us say a person is reading the article, right? Let's talk about opportunity. Okay,
Sure.
you have an opportunity to make people think that they can also write in this manner and jot down their ideas. It's an opportunity for you at that
Mm.
particular point of time when they're
Mm.
reading an article or highlighting something, right? They're literally highlighting a text, and then you are like, okay, let me now trigger people to think that they can also write in this manner or attach an idea.
Mm.
Now go to your product manager and say, hey, you know what? I am going and thinking of adding a feature of adding a note, additional notes about writing when they're actually highlighting a feature. Can you please go and give me the data on the number of creators on the platform who actually go and highlight existing text?
Mm.
Awesome. You can talk because it's a very good conversation. Then the product manager like, oh, how is it relevant? Can you please talk to me? You will have a good conversation. You will ask a lot of questions. That person
Mm.
also will ask you a lot of questions. So what's happening is you have one problem and one solution in your mind because only that much you have thought of, and therefore you're not able to ask more questions because you have not broken it down into a full journey and thought about every small aspect of the journey, right? You do this in a very non-textbook manner, you will have ended up doing something called as journey mapping.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
but don't go to the
whenever
internet and search for journey mapping. Don't do it. Literally do what I'm saying right now.
sure, sure.
After you do, then go and look at the internet, then you will realize what journey mapping is. You go to the
Okay.
internet and look for journey mapping, you'll be totally confused. Trust me. So what will happen on the internet is there'll be a lot of maps on journey maps because the fundamental concept is very simple. At every point of the journey, I want to plot whatever the F I want to plot, which impacts the experience of a user. Be it
Mm.
feelings, be it emotions, be it this, be it difficulties, problems, or opportunities, whatever it is, I want to plot is the concept. But what happens is everyone has their own version of giving a template or a formula of doing this, right? That's why the whole internet has but you do this as what I'm saying, and then go and look at a diagram on the internet, then everything will be like very clear. You'll see what they're trying to do,
Sure.
right? Now you do this, you'll have so many questions, right?
Mm.
In fact, you will probably end up convincing, or your product manager themselves might come and ask you to do research for this, because for many questions you will not have answers. Because for the same example which I'm taking, right, as a reader, I'll ask you, what I asked the product manager is a quantitative data, right? What I asked, how many people how many people today are actually highlighting and adding notes
Mm.
who are creators? This is a very quantitative data, right? Why are they adding notes? Do they even add notes? Do they is what you'll get from the number, right? But why are they adding notes,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Quantitative data. After reading article, or typically before, when they write an article, how many articles did they already read in the same platform is a quantitative data which you
Mm.
can ask, right?
Mm.
To see if there is any correlation between, if at all I read 3 articles, then I'm inspired to write one article. Let's see, you have this idea,
Mm.
right? So you want to do this correlation, you want to ask this data to a product manager, you will go and ask, right? But then you want to understand the reasons why. Do you think do you think reading existing articles will inspire people to write? You don't know. This is a qualitative answer.
Mm.
See, if your product manager and the business also thinks that, oh, you know what, this seems to be a very good idea, let's invest a little bit of time on finding out what's happening with people.
Mm.
And they will realize if you ask these questions. They'll say,
Mm.
hey, let's talk to people. And you'll say, hey, you know what, all I need is just a day where just help me with targeting these people, not even target, just finding these people, give me some contacts, I'll talk to them.
mm,
In just a day, you'll get qualitative insights about the entire journey people are taking, about how they read articles or what's happening before they actually write an article. Bam. Right? I mean, you know what, this is a difference, right? Because a lot of us think that a company is supposed to come and tell us to do research. They won't, because it's a waste of time for them. They need
true.
results. But
Mm,
you have these conversations. You showcase your journey. You showcase your vision. You always talk their language. You know what? I want to build this feature. I want to introduce this. But these are the questions. How do you think we can get answers? Can you give me some quantitative data? Awesome. Can you work on this qualitative data? Can you get some? Let's say they're like, no, it's okay, fine. Go with your assumptions. Exactly what we do in our PDC, in a product design challenge, right? Of course, product design challenge is something which I've made out of what we really do in real companies, right? That's it. This is the way you can have very good product mature conversations
yeah,
with your
perfect.
stakeholders. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
but
much.
but before all this, validate yourself. You
Okay.
need to acknowledge that you are getting questions, you're already doing well. You need to identify realistic instances of where you performed well, you asked good questions, and make yourself, yes, yes, I have that. Don't skip this, or else everything what I'll tell you will become pressure. First address that.
Okay.
Got it?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank
Shambhavi. Yeah.